I just want to give everyone a brief introduction with regard to the goals and a little bit of the history, briefly, of the establishment of the school, and of course the mosque, which is the location of the school. So, first of all, beginning with Brilliant Minds Learning Academy, it is a entity that is a brainchild of one of our very own sisters here, one of the teachers, Miss Douglas, and of course it was established prior to here at her residence during the lockdown. So it was something, she's a teacher by qualification, and she was running the school there, and then of course we invited her to open the school here at the mosque once we had the opening post-COVID, after the pandemic. So it is not a new venture, it is not a novel venture to have a denominational school. I think all of you know that. In Trinidad and Tobago, most of us grew up with Christian denominational schools. And alhamdulillah, myself included, I went to school in a primary school in Trinidad Muslim League in St. Joseph. So there are Muslim Islamic schools as well in Trinidad. And again, as I said, it's not something new. And it's just that we are pleased to be able to offer that in Tobago now. And that does not mean that the school, of course, is for Muslims only. It means that we are offering a school with the Islamic values and etiquettes that are somewhat, or mostly, for the most part, I think almost universal throughout all moral standards and values in our country of Trinidad and Tobago. So the mosque itself, Tobago Islamic Learning Center, as we are registered as Masjid Abdullah ibn Abbaas, Tobago Islamic Learning Center, has been around since 2011. And we moved to this location in 2017. Prior to moving to this location, we did actually have a preschool that ran for about 2 years, and then before we moved, we were unable to restart it, of course due to the lockdown and other factors. But now that we have the passion and dedication of a few of our sisters here who have decided to take up this venture, we have decided to start the school now at this juncture in our mosque's history. So Tobago Islamic Learning Center has always been about knowledge, has always been about learning. And we chose as a motto for the school an Arabic term that was coined by one of our great scholars of the past, Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah, may Allah be pleased with him. That motto is al-ilm qabl al-qawl wal-amal, which means in English, knowledge precedes speech and action. Knowledge precedes speech and action. And this motto has been essential, or is essential, in Islam. It is very essential in Islam. And I think it is also very intrinsic in every human being's life, in all of mankind's life throughout history. And I think it's something that is coherent with all values universally. That before we can speak, before we can act, we must always have knowledge of what we say and what we do. And knowledge is power, as they say. So our theme in the school, in Brilliant Minds Learning Academy, is knowledge precedes speech and action, and it is about education. It is about educating from the very early stages in life, of course, as it is a preschool and primary school, early childhood development, all the way up, as we say in the mosque as well, to adulthood. So this is our motto, and alongside the highest standard of academics that we want to pursue here, because we have a range of qualified teachers, of course, we also want to instill these Islamic values. And we have one of our elders and teachers that are visiting us on the island right now. He was here for a lecture series, Shaykh Abu Hakīm, Bilāl Davis. May Allah preserve him. He's on his way and he should be here shortly. He's going to give us a little bit more about the Islamic aspect of it when he gets here. But we want to, as I say, reassure and fortify for the public as well as the local community and the entire Tobago communities as well, that this Islamic school is one that is going to be at the utmost and of the highest of universal Islamic moral values and standards. That which is of the old school values, if you will, that goes way back, even in cohesion with the old Christian values as well, that which most of us grew up with. So, like I said, when he comes, he'll give us a little bit more about the expectations of that in terms of the Islamic school. But for now, obviously, we have with us our Assemblyman, Mr. Joel. He's behind me here right now. He's going to go ahead and give us a brief address, and then after that, we'll have our very own supervisor and administrator, Miss Joy Fortune, affectionately known as Auntie Joy. And she's actually been involved in education and the education sector and as an educator for close to 40 years, almost 40 years. So we are very fortunate, like her name Fortune, we are very fortunate to have her with us. She's our supervisor, and she's going to be overseeing a lot of our education standards and so on. She is, as I said, she has experience from all the way from preschool all the way up to tertiary education. So, alhamdulillah, praise be to God, to Allah, that we have her with us. And as I said, we will have our Assemblyman, our area representative, Mr. Joel Sampson, give us a brief address at this point, because he's obviously a very busy man, and he has blessed us with his presence here this morning, and I, like to thank him for that, because obviously, it is an honor to have him here with us today to give us a brief address with regard to the opening of the school. Yeah, have a seat now. I'll just think, let me bring the next step.
Firstly, allow me to acknowledge Mr. Yusuf Diab, Imam of the Masjid, Ms. Joy Fortune, Administrator, staff members, stakeholders, and supporters of Brilliant Minds Learning Academy. Good morning. It brings me great joy to bring greetings at this opening ceremony for Brilliant Minds Learning Academy. This undertaking, I am sure, was by no means an easy feat. In fact, I am sure it was a difficult task to get to this point, and by no means it will get easier. You see, schooling is not only about teaching our young minds how to read, write, add, and subtract. It really is the main avenue by which our young minds are molded. It is where they learn critical thinking and socialization skills and discover their talents through extracurricular activities. However, most importantly, it is where they also learn to be decent human beings, to be kind, to be humble, to be confident, and to be considerate. Thank you for seeking to do just that in this district of Canaan, Bonaccord, and Crown Point. We welcome you all to our community overflowing with love and unity, irrespective of race, religion, or socio-economic status. We look forward to seeing the positive impact that you will have on these young minds extend outside the walls of this school. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the day's proceedings.
So now again, we'll just go to our, as I said, our supervisor administrator, Ms. Joy Fortune, who again is overseeing a lot of our school activities. So she's the one that she will address us now, inshallah.
Good morning to everyone, and let me thank our very busy area representative. Let me thank him. I know he's very busy, especially on a Friday, and let me thank each and every one of you for making the effort to come out here today. The fact that a venture like this is actually happening, I know that the planners and the participants and the persons who are involved in bringing this to fruition must be breathing a sigh of relief. It is a tall order that they have filled and fulfilled. Someone's dream, others' passion, others wanting to see their community in a better light. The area of Canaan, Bonaccord, is a huge area. If I could say, Imam, maybe the hugest part of Tobago, by population.
I'm not 100% sure, but it's
But
definitely one of the biggest.
Definitely one of the biggest, largest areas population-wise. And so, being a large population, we would have a lot of diversification. That is, people of different cultures, people of different backgrounds and socio-economic status, as our representative said. To cater for all persons and everyone in the community is a tall order, a really tall order. And because of that, you would find that there are going to be challenges. It has been my experience, as the Imam said, almost 40 years of it. It has been my experience that no matter where you lie, what your status is, every parent, and I have never come across one in all my years, who did not want to achieve educational success for their younger ones. It is the common goal of each and every parent. And so it is good for the future, for the school and the area, because I can tell you for a fact, the last preschool that was in the area, Lorraine's Educare Center, I believed it closed, its doors were closed in 2009 when she assumed the position of early childhood supervisor in the Division of Education. So she closed those doors many moons ago. So there are few little ones all over, but I doubt I know that they cannot facilitate the size of the populace, especially in early childhood care. So we welcome all of you, and we want to thank you for choosing Brilliant Minds Learning Academy. It has been my experience that the more care you give out there is the more you receive. Persons would often ask me, how come you're still doing this? How come you're still into teaching, especially in the early childhood area? And here's my simple reply. I'm not getting younger, I'm getting older. And what even our senior years. So all of us who are adults now, we are creating the kind of life and the kind of welfare that we want to see when we are seniors. I want, when I enter that pension office, probably walking with a stick, one of my students will say, Auntie Joy, come, and they would help me out. I get it already at the airport, I get it at the port, and I get it all places. So what we put out is what we plan to receive. And the more love you put out there is the more you're going to receive. Let me address parents particularly. Parents, it is your responsibility because God gave you these children to rear for Him. I want you, I implore you, rear their spiritual values, whatever that might be. Rear them to fear God. Rear them to have respect. Rear them to take education seriously. And rear them to be a better person. That when they go out there, they would reflect you. Because you are the first teacher. We get them at age 3+, 2.5, 3+, with all that you have taught them before. A simple please and thank you, and good morning and good afternoon is a great start. It's a great start, a wonderful start. So parents, you have your role to do. Not only with your children, but with the school. A school is as good as its staff and its parent population. If we don't have cooperation between parent, staff, and the students, we're not going anywhere. It has to be that triangle of cooperation. So you have an issue with something that happened in the child's day, don't come to the front of the school and make a big hullabaloo. Make a phone call, try to talk to office staff. I am so and so, and I would like to speak with or see my child's teacher. That is the correct and polite thing to do. and see if you can get that issue resolved. If it isn't resolved there, then that's what I'm for. I'm going to sit in, trust me. With all my years of experience in handling these, I'm going to sit in. So just call the office, make an appointment, come in there and get it over with. Don't keep it to fester and make a problem out there. And it's a cultural thing in Trinidad and Tobago. You have a problem and you will not go to the source to solve that problem, but you will take it to the neighbor and to a friend and fester out there. The meeting here is where you have a question, ask that question. Don't feel any question is stupid. You ask questions to get information, the right information. So go to the source, get that information, clear the air. It's the best thing to do. It works all the time because the person you might be getting the information from may not have all the facts. So I implore you parents, be there for the teachers, consult with them, speak with them, and you will get the results and the reward that is yours. Also, to the well-wishers, continue to support because we need a lot of support. There are things that are sometimes overlooked, even by the best of professionals, so that you notice something, we can improve this by doing, especially in your expertise. I may be an expert in my field of education, but where gardening is concerned, I am a novice. I have no expertise there. I'm only trying now to get my green thumbs going so that the Imam is an expert on, I would say, Arabic affairs and Islamic affairs. I am a novice there. So go to the expert if you want information and the true information of what you need. Okay? Do not limit the children. Do not limit them. Children are individuals and you have to treat them as such. You may have 2 children or more than 2, and each of them, trust me, are going to be different. They are going to be different and they're going to need your attention in different spans and manners. So you have to work on that, allow them to flourish under rules, of course, because if we don't want to have chaos, we have to have a sense of order and rules. So the rules are X, Y, and Z, and let them know from as early as they can speak, these are the rules, and there are consequences when rules are broken. Okay? In order for us to have a civilized society, we have to live by civilized rules. In today's society, it seems as though chaos is the order, but not where we are concerned. If you are a God-fearing parent and you want your home to run in a certain fashion, you have to establish the ground rules and live by it. As parents and co-parents, mommy and daddy can't be bickering and don't expect the child to be bickering too. If you have to bicker, do it behind closed doors. Where child rearing is concerned, you have to be unified. So daddy can't say, go out there and do whatever, and mommy restricting you. That is a recipe for disaster. So daddy and mommy must sit and plan and be on the same page in order for the child to grow up under rules. I remember we always asked daddy, we always went to daddy when we wanted our own way. And he would say, with me it's okay, but ask your mother. He always deferred to mommy. And that's all right, you can defer. If you know to yourself that you have a soft spot for this child, defer to daddy. Because guess what? That's what they will do. And they're very clever. They're going to play on your emotions. If they know when I go to mommy, I get everything, then mommy is who I'm going to. If they know when I go to daddy, I get away with, then daddy is who they're going to. So daddy and mommy now has to come together and work out a specific plan for the upbringing and uplifting of this child. Okay, I implore you. Educationally, the school is in its beginning stages, infancy stage, so there is going to be soft footsteps that we're going to be taking. But with your help, we're going to get there. Under my supervision, I'm going to ensure that quality and not quantity is what we're looking at. Because in the end, quantity could be massive and it would look good. But if it's not quality, it doesn't serve any purpose. Okay? So we're looking for quality over quantity. So you get 3 pages of work to do and you don't know how to do it. It doesn't make any sense. So we're looking for quality and understanding over quantity. Okay? Let me say it to each other. We have to be respectful. As an Islamic institution, there are certain rules and regulations that must be understood. Even in the Christian sphere of education, there are also rules and regulations that must be adhered to. Don't feel that because this is a private institution that you can do whatever because you're paying fees. That's not how it goes. If we're going to establish rules for the children, then parents, you too must have your rules. So learn of all the rules upon entry to the school, learn of all the things that are required of you, and we should have for a happy and joyful learning institute, Brilliant Minds Learning Academy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Miss Joy, Auntie Joy, as we say affectionately. And 2 words that you've used and that we've used, and I think it's befitting of you, is your name. You mentioned Joy, and we are very fortunate to have you. So, alhamdulillah, it's a very nice opportunity to work together with you. And as she mentioned, and I respect that deeply, that she's mentioned that it is an Islamic school. And what we mean by that, and of course, as you know, Auntie Joy is non-Muslim. May Allah guide her to Islam. We hope that she would enter into Islam one day, but we respect everybody's religion. If you come here and you're a non-Muslim, you're welcome to come. Of course, it's a private school, but we have certain guidelines that we work with that are based on our Islamic legislation, and we believe those legislations are fit for society to live alongside in this non-Muslim society. It's not that we're trying to impose some sort of, and as I mentioned, our teacher, our Shaykh, will mention a little bit about that in a second. But just to give as a brief understanding that we are trying to live in cohesion with the society that we are in, and that means that and again, as I mentioned earlier, we have very high academic goals. We expect, and one of the things that I would like to mention is that as well as with the traditional way of schooling, we are also pairing it up with some unconventional methods that are borrowed from international standards. And we have one of our teachers in contact with an American legislator, an American educator too, that is guiding us along the way with some other means and things. And because we want to make it a little bit more unconventional to what we know here in Trinidad and Tobago. And we believe it to be very productive as well. We've seen the efforts and seen the fruits of it in other schools internationally. But that being said, we also want to pair it with, as I said, the highest ethical and moral standards and values, because as she mentioned, as Auntie Joy mentioned, we do have a degradation of society happening all around us, worldwide. In Trinidad and Tobago, I mean, it would be remiss of anyone to say that they're not seeing it happening, right? It is happening, and it starts at the very early age, the very early years, early childhood development. It doesn't start when you're 14 and 15, it starts when children are 3 years old, when children are 2 years old, these crucial times in their life, 4 years old, 5 years old, they start being indoctrinated with certain principles and certain values. And again, we believe the cure for that is Islam. That is the bottom line. But again, we can impart as much as we can in terms of the values that Islam shares across the board. So that is something that I appreciate her insight into, and I appreciate her cooperation with us in that, and the fact that she's given us her all and her 40 years experience is something it's priceless to us. So again, thank you very much, Auntie Joy, for being with us and for being able to help supervise the affair. So without further ado, I want to give you now our elder, our teacher. As I mentioned, he's visiting us here from the UK, and we were again fortunate to have him here at this juncture. It wasn't planned that way, But alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah that he's with us now and he'll be able to give us some short insight. And they as well are in the UK, in Birmingham, and they also have a school as well. There's a school that they oversee, and there's a primary school and elementary school. I'm not sure how they coin it over there. So they have education experience, and they're actually on the cusp of opening up another very huge mosque in Aston, right, close to Birmingham. Well, in Birmingham, Aston is in Birmingham, right, and eventually a school there as well. So they are very versed in education, not just Islamic education, but all sorts of education. So I'm going to let him give us a brief talk and an advice.
السلام عليكم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبع هداه أما بعد. No doubt it is a pleasure to be present with you today with this, the launch and the initial stage of the launch of the Brilliant Minds Learning Academy. Something that brings joy to the heart that we have the establishment of these types of schools and these types of educational facilities within our cities. Because of the fact that our lands here, the land and the country of Trinidad and Tobago, very similar to that which we have in the UK, these are lands that are diverse in terms of our population. And so in relation to our diversity, in the presence of the diversity that we have, it is imperative that when we have this type of diversity, that as a society that we consider the various types of cultural diversity that we have among us, and in particular as it relates to our schools and education. And so when we hear of religious schools being established within our cities, within our towns, these are things that we no doubt celebrate, for the presence of these types of educational facilities have huge benefit to our future generation. There is no doubt that anyone who analyzes any society, then they will know that in essence, our nations and societies are in essence conglomerations of families. They begin in the home. We have a number of families that come together to make a society and to make a community. And so when these societies and these communities are conglomerations of families, the families, in essence, the nucleus of the family returns back, of course, to those who are the supervisors and the heads of the family, the parents of the family. And then we have the manner in which those parents nurture and raise the offsprings that they have. And the nurturing of children is something that is not an easy task, as all of you, as anyone of you who is a parent will know. And there has been a large wave of home parenting in the UK. I'm sure it takes place here similarly. Anyone who has homeschooled a child will know the difficulties and the dynamics that are present within the affair of trying to homeschool a child. And it's very difficult, and it's something that requires a large amount of skill and time and focus. And so when we have a school that takes care of all of the necessary elements that we were trying to employ when we were trying to homeschool our children, and that does so within the realm and within the capacity of a school that is recognized by the state, a school that is governed by the state, or overseen at the very least by the councillors and by the necessary educational departments within our lands, then this is a job that has been done for you in essence. You have specialists within certain fields, and you have teachers and educators who have years of experience in some cases, and if not, then they are developing their years of experience while teaching, while educating and raising those children. This is a beautiful opportunity, similarly for your children, to learn the earliest of skills, social skills, for them to interact with other children like themselves, learning as they are learning the various life sciences alongside the core curriculum topics. And so the presence and the foundation of a school like this one is something that no doubt brings joy to the heart, and it is something that we should celebrate. An Islamic school is likewise from the types of schools that we should definitely celebrate in our societies. One of the reasons that I mention that is because you are very familiar, and everyone across the globe is familiar with the types of mayhem that have been caused by fringe extremists within our Islamic and our Muslim communities that have painted or caused the Muslim communities to be demonized and to be painted and tarred with a brush of extremism and what have you. One of the reasons that we have the type of involvement in this foolish activity and these mindless activities that we have is because of miseducation, and oftentimes because of an absence of education. Had those individuals been nurtured from a young age, had they been cultured upon the reality of the way of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, had they been taught the counter arguments to some of the arguments that some of these extremists have, had they been nurtured upon the core values that are present within our religion, of course, from the most fundamental of them and from the greatest of them, the preservation of life, which is from the 5 principles, the 5 major overlying principles that our religion is built upon. Had they been nurtured upon that, then from a young age they would have detected, the foolishness. They would have detected the deviance within the code, and they perhaps would have been at the forefront of highlighting and protecting society from these types of individuals. I can speak in my capacity as an educator in Birmingham, that within our schools, whether it be the Greenfields Academy or the Redstone Academy, which is the academy for the older children or the younger children, our children are already equipped to deal with this type of idea and this type of thought. They're ready. And so there is there are very few. You have to be an extremely shrewd extremist to have or to beguile any of our children, because we've made a point of having those counter narratives a fundamental, integral part of our curriculum. And so it is with these types of ideas and this type of thinking in mind that the presence of this Brilliant Minds Academy and its inception is one that is something that brings joy to the heart. Similarly, because of the fact that our Islamic history has seen many generations, and it is something that unfortunately in recent times we haven't been as well known for, but there has been huge contribution from the Islamic community in the past, in fact in the development of many of the sciences, whether it be the varying sciences of geometry and mathematics, the development of various types of sciences, optics, the developments within education, the first of the universities that were ever established, whether it be the first university that was ever established in Timbuktu, or the first of the universities that were established in Egypt, or as occurred in Fez, the first university in the world that was ever a degree granting university. We had the establishment of many institutes of learning and education, and great scholars within Muslim heritage, establishing sciences such as algebra, since we're dealing with the core subject. Algebra in actuality is an anglicized manifestation of the science al-Jabr, which is in its origin an Arabic science and an Arabic word that was anglicized and was utilized and taught within the varying European institutes of learning. And so we have a great heritage and history of learning and educating because of that which is present within the religion itself, from the development of the usul, of the fundamentals of many sciences. Likewise, much of the words that are present within our English language are in actuality taken from the Arabic language, since when the English language was being developed, these were the various sciences that were taken, or many of the sciences at that time during the development of the English language were taken from Arabic sciences, alongside, of course, the Celtic languages and other than that. But we do have huge influence present within our English educational sciences that were in actuality derived from many generations and many centuries of Islamic learning. And so hopefully the Brilliant Minds Institute will rekindle that fire of learning and innovation that has always been present within the Muslim community and within Muslim heritage and history. And as we mentioned, we hope that this will be an excellent example for the people of Tobago for how a Muslim community should be, and how the varying lands and countries that embraced Islam and entered into Islam purely upon them observing the dealings with the Muslims. If you look at sub-Saharan Africa, or if you look at the many of the countries in the Far East that embraced Islam, Indonesia and those Far Eastern countries that embraced Islam, Malaysia, they embraced Islam purely because of what they observed from the dealings of the Muslims and how they interacted with the Muslims, and they saw that they were a noble, upright, good people who taught nothing but morals and ethics and had an excellent moral code. And so they loved that and they inclined towards it, and it caused people to embrace Islam and to be attracted to the religion. And why would that not be the case when, as we know and as we believe, Islam is nothing but an extension of that which was left by all of the prophets and messengers, and that it was the seal of the call of all of the prophets and messengers, starting from Noah, going through to Jesus and being sealed with the final prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So we hope that the Brilliant, I don't want to carry on rabbiting and boring you, but we hope that the Brilliant Minds establishment and academy will be the coolness of the eyes of the Tobagan society, and will be a fakhar and the pride of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and something that we from across the shores will be able to point people towards as an excellent example and model of an Islamic school that has nurtured and reared and developed in a beautiful manner the children of Tobago and those who have attended their academy. So I won't continue. It's hot out here, but we'll return the mic back to our brother Yusuf. But thank you for inviting me to this monumental event.
Jazakallah khair, may Allah reward you and preserve you, our elder, our teacher, Abu Hakīm. So we will proceed now the final part of the orientation, which is more geared towards our parents and the teachers, where we will have a small walkthrough of the present school. Now, keep in mind that the school that we have established here now, with the outside facility being with the tents and so on, is a temporary solution for our future plans, which is actually to develop the building that you see in front of you. Of course, a building of this magnitude costs quite a lot of money. It is a solid steel structure, and in fact, the area here, the area representative, will tell you that we actually use it as a muster point for when there's, if there's any emergency situations, floods, hurricane, earthquake, that sort of stuff. So it is a huge building. It was a large undertaking, and we do plan to extend the upper floor and extend over to the, towards the fence there by the other land, which we are soon to acquire as well. So, what you're seeing here, I think perhaps if we look back, when you look back 2, 3, maybe 5 years from now, you will look at it and you will probably smile and say, remember when it was that little small building and we had some tents outside. So inshallah, God willing, we have bigger plans. But again, for the sake of today's walkthrough, I just wanted to mention that what you see, the sisters have worked tirelessly over the past few weeks to get the school set up, curriculum as well as physically. And what you see is the fruition of that, of these past few weeks of tireless working. They have set up, the classrooms within the tents themselves. And I must say I'm very pleased with it. Very impressed and very pleased. So we have all our teachers here with us today. And they're going to take the parents, and I would ask that you probably should leave the children out of it so that they don't disturb the proceedings, and just have the parents walk through with the teachers and give a quick tour of, and of course anybody else that would like to pass through and have a look, they're more than welcome. So again, I thank you very much for taking the time out today to come to this very short, brief opening ceremony and orientation for the parents. School starts on Monday, inshallah, and God willing. And again, these are terminologies that everybody will become familiar with. And again, it's something of, how should I say, it's something of a miss that in a lot of our societies here in Trinidad and Tobago, and not all, but some, people are not fully aware of these terms, and sometimes they become intimidated. You hear somebody say Bismillah, you hear somebody say Inshallah, you hear somebody say Alhamdulillah, and you're not sure what, or worse yet, the one that gets brandished all over Hollywood is Allahu Akbar, right? And we often feel that there is some term that terrorists use when they're about
just before the explosion.
But these terms are actually very, very common terms in our English language, in the sense that they are forms of dua, they are forms of prayer and supplication to the Most High Almighty. Allahu Akbar means God is the greatest, and who is greater than Allah Almighty, the God of all heavens and earth, of everything, of all creation. So Allahu Akbar is a beautiful word, beautiful statement. Alhamdulillah means all praise is due to Allah, the creator, the sustainer, and all his beautiful names and attributes. Inshallah, sometimes you just meet people on the road and they just tell you, hey boy, inshallah, and nobody really know what inshallah means, God willing. And we are taught in the Islamic faith that, anything we want to do in the future, it would not come to pass unless we say inshallah. It's one of our principles. So these are things, it's beautiful things, whether you're a Muslim or non-Muslim, it's things that you could learn, and things that would at least remove that element of intimidation and that element of scare, the scare factor then, So I hope that at the very least would be something that we could, share with our non-Muslim companions in the community and non-Muslim neighbors and so on. So without further ado, again, I'd like to say thank you all for coming out this morning. Our Shaykh, Auntie Joy, of course, Assemblyman Joel Sampson, who has left us, he's very busy, gave a brief talk and he left. We have some refreshments. I think the sisters prepared a little small snack and refreshments for all the attendees. So without further ado, like I said, we'll go ahead and have the walkthrough now, and then after that, I guess they will have the little, say again? Reassemble here to have the little hors d'oeuvres or whatever it is they've prepared. All right, so I thank you all again, and may you all have a pleasant day, and may Allah guide us all to that which is correct.
If I may suggest,
yes, sure.
If I may suggest, maybe one or two of the staff could go through it, one group, and when that group comes out, to avoid the
clutter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that if two members of staff, I don't mind going, could go with one group, so we could divide ourselves maybe into two groups, and that's our group over there. Okay?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an excellent idea. So I'll leave that to you all. You all can decide that there quickly who's going to go with who and how many will go in the beginning, and then you could switch and have some other parents go through. So again, as I said, may Allah, the Almighty, guide us all to that which He loves and is pleased with, and make us all of those that are steadfast upon the right way. Amen. Yeah. I want to sit on the side and AC, nobody's in there.
Morning.
Oh.
Morning. How are you?
No, we follow me to the school. Yeah, I kind of have one hand right now, so.
And anytime you try.
No, my hand do too.
Yeah. You wanna go? You wanna go with me? Okay. See, I made up right already.
I'll be running.
Yeah? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, well,
It's
me.
a rotate device. I don't know. You gotta rotate it. Hold on. Wait.
Just rotate it, no, man. I keep saying that, but you see?
Wait.
Oh, now. Oh, nah, just turn it.
Turn it. Right, don't forget, don't show.
Yeah,
Use this too.
yeah. I use my left hand, so.
You gotta kind of go on the side and make sure you get it.
I'm sorry, with
Because it's not, we don't have much children, so it's together, right? So the two classes are together in this area here. This is their little reading corner where they could sit and read books or do even story time. And we are moving now. This is not all. We have more. Let's give us a second.
here. We have one more. We have a little thing going on. You have to look really close. So we have like different animals around. So you have a squirrel here. You have two squirrels swimming. And then here we have a nice bird cage. In the backyard, you're going to do gardening also. So we do gardening. And you will notice that it's very interactive, so that the staff is not far from the children and taking time and all time. They are very focused on what they're doing and over time. So that at the curriculum decide what they're going to be taught, the staff is there to oversee what is being done. Okay, so lots of activities, lots of areas for them to be occupied. Trust me, it took a lot of work to put this together. So you can rest assured that the staff is willing and able to get your kids where they need to be academically. But as I said, your assistance is necessary. So if they send home and say, if you have this paper, don't make up fun. Sometimes it's last minute, but don't make up fun. I remember at the practice school that I was writing to one parent explained to me that so someone wasn't writing properly. So I know in my training to develop handwriting skills. Small notes, fine motor skills good. And one of that is threading a needle and sewing. So I said, so when I asked her to send a bucket and a thread, and needle and
Yeah.